So I just got back from seeing the new Han Solo movie, and while I'm sure there's more to digest, this video I just want to talk about my initial reaction and thoughts on the movie.
You're fulfilling your destiny.
Real quick to get an understanding of where I'm coming from. Initially, I wasn't excited about this movie. I really didn't think we needed to recast Han Solo. We didn't need an origin story for him. But as I watched more of the trailers and teasers, I was excited. I got on board. It actually looked really good. While I still think they shouldn't have done Han Solo as a standalone movie, I started to get pumped for it. On the other hand, I really don't have any strong feelings towards Disney. Either way, I both praise and criticize decisions made by them. So if you're wondering why I'm saying that, it's for the people that scream shill anytime you say anything nice about Disney. You're a fucking man-child. Go put your nose in the corner. So baseline, I love Star Wars. I went to see a Star Wars movie expecting to wholly enjoy it. With that out of the way, fuck, was this movie a mess. The first hour of this movie was an absolute nightmare. The second half was actually really good, but I'll get into that in a bit. Because in this review, I'm going to say both positive and negative things about the movie, which is just gonna set those people off that want you to either just bash Disney nonstop or just praise movies. You guys also put your nose in the corner. I don't know how you can have the first hour of a film be so boring that I'm borderline angry. Do you know how hard it is to bore me? Do you know what I went to school for? I'm used to tedious shit. I mean, look at my past Star Wars reviews. I'm excited about anything Star Wars. It is hard for me to just say, fuck, that was so bad. I just don't know what to do. I love Star Wars. I love the franchise. It excites me, except for the first hour of this film. It felt like a cheap mockery of Star Wars. Like, they took something you loved and they dressed something else up like it and said, hey, this is what you love. But you know it isn't what you really love. I think one of the biggest issues for the first hour of this film was pacing. There were major pacing issues in this film. Honestly, they should have just had this entire film take place on Corellia, on the streets of Corellia as Han is growing up and trying to survive, and we see him become the smartass. We see him acquire certain skills. And then Disney, you could have gotten all those sequels you so desperately wanted and raked in that sweet, sweet Star Wars Han Solo money. But you want to know why we couldn't have that? Because we had to hit all the numbers in this film. We had to meet Lando. We had to meet Chewie. We had to see Han getting the Millennium Falcon. Honestly, I feel like if we would have spent the entire movie on Corellia, or a majority of it, we could have escaped the pacing nightmare and the tonal nightmare. And maybe we could have fixed young Qi'ra, because for some reason, young Qi'ra was so awful and her dialogue was so hollow, and then older Qi'ra was great. They're played by the same actress, young and slightly older Qi'ra, so I have no idea how that happened. But here we are. But let's just say they couldn't make a compelling story on Corellia. I think that's bullshit, but let's move on. We hardly spend any time as Han enlisted in the Empire. He enlists, we miss 3 years, boom, he's on Mimban, he's washed out of the academy. There's a saying, and I'm sure you're really sick of hearing it by now, show, don't tell. And I felt like Han just told us what happened the past 3 years with just throwaway dialogue, and it sucked. I mean, Disney, why didn't you just throw in a song and dance number where Han could have just expressed his life for the past couple years and how he misses Qi'ra so desperately? I joke, but I'm sure they've thought about it. I don't know why the opportunity to show Han in the Imperial Navy was passed up. I can think of a dozen plus good stories we could have gotten while he was in the academy. Disney, you said you wanted to show us what made Han Han. A big part of his character is he hates the Empire, which we know because you keep shoving that shit in the recent canon with him. So you missed a big opportunity here. Time jumps can be used very well, and time jumps have been used very well in Star Wars films. Here, it was a bit misused. And you could have had the same time jump in this movie, but you should have used it a little bit better. Now, it's not like the first hour of this film was a total mess. Han meeting Chewbacca was amazing. And I don't know what it is about Star Wars films, but why is it the most minor characters that are just throwaway characters turn out to be the best? Those two troopers throwing Han into the pin with Chewbacca and then egging Chewie on to kill him faster and slower were absolutely hilarious. That scene was crazy fun, but again, the tone between right before that and that kind of made it feel a bit weird. So I really feel like Disney can work on where and how they place their humor so it blends a little bit better into the scenes. Watch the original trilogy. There's humor in there. There's a lot of humor, but it blends with the scene. It blends with the tone of the scene. But it was awesome to see Han speaking to Chewie, especially in his language and how primitive it was. Me, big stick. That was a lot of fun too. Meeting of Beckett and his crew and the train heist scene were okay. Not as great as I thought it was going to be. I really wish we would have spent more time with the characters that died, but that being said, I did feel sad when Rio and Vale died, so maybe we didn't need that much more time with them. But still, I feel like we could have developed them a little bit more or spent a little bit more time with them. It just felt like boom, 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 oh, dead, here we go. Now after Krillium and Ban and the train heist, the movie got really, really good. I feel like if they would have taken the last hour, 15 minutes of that movie and made that into its own film, they would have been golden. Do you remember when movies in theaters used to actually only be about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes? I do. Those were okay. So they could have sold this movie as Han is working for a gangster. Believable based on the Han we know in the original trilogy. Han has failed this guy before. Again, believable based on the original trilogy. He has to then go to Kessel. Along the way, he meets Lando to go on this mission. Boom! Brilliant film. We didn't need the first hour of that fucking nightmare. But speaking of Lando, meeting Lando, all of Lando was just fantastic. Donald Glover was so over-the-top cheesy. I really felt like this was young Calrissian. I have no complaints about Lando. He was perfect. He even took the word milady, which we all know is a cringy word, and he made it work. Donald Glover is like magic or something. I'd also say all of Han and Lando's interactions were a lot of fun. I genuinely felt like we were seeing the beginning of their relationship, and how they interact in The Empire Strikes Back really meshed well with how they interact here. Here's a shocker, especially for me. I loved L3. I thought she was absolutely hilarious and annoying in a fun way. And if I would have listened to the internet beforehand, she was a social justice warrior insert, which she absolutely wasn't. Trust me, I hate social justice warriors. I have one in my family. I can no longer say, hey guys, because that's not gender neutral. So besides her being funny and enjoying her, she actually served as a nice bridge. We know in the original trilogy, droids aren't treated well. They're basically slaves. And we know in this newest trilogy, it's canon that droids are being treated a lot better and respectful and seen as their own people. So to see this starting 40-ish years earlier, to see how we got to that point where, oh boom, 30 years later, droids are treated a lot better, it's because of droids like L3 that were like, hey guys, this is super fucked up. So instead of viewing this as a feminist droid, which is super cringy, just imagine this as somebody that's trying to get freedom for their people. So not freedom for a gender, freedom for an entire species that are droids. And if droids wanting freedom to you sounds stupid, remember that when they don't have memory wipes, they actually develop a personality. They have memories. And we actually have quite a few books out now, and it's an intellectual debate about when we start being able to create AI with that ability to form personalities and such, at what point do they become human? At what point is it slave labor for just using them? Also, Legends already had a droids' rights droid, so it's not like Disney just plucked this out of nowhere. But yeah, I love L3, but I also love sassy droids, R2, BB-8, K2SO. They're all great. But it's cool if you hated her. I don't really give a shit. I think we can all agree that Voss was amazing. He was like a last-minute character with under 10 minutes of screen time about, and he blew me away. And it kind of felt like he was just thrown away. Disney has a hard time coming up with good villains. Well, they used to. They've actually gotten a lot better. And I feel like they found a really good villain and they hardly used him. He was fun, he was intimidating, he was menacing in every scene he was in. I have a problem where a lot of times when I see a villain, I just feel like I'm being told to fear them, but I don't really fear them. I really don't think they're that intimidating. To me, I can always see the actor pretending to be all scary. Not the case with Voss. I absolutely could see why that guy was intimidating, and I didn't feel like they were saying, hey, yeah, this guy's scary, you should be scared of this guy. I was like, no, I could see that. I would not want to be in a room with this guy. He freaks me the fuck out. So yeah, Voss being taken out was a huge disappointment and really just feels like a thrown away villain. Speaking of villains, Maul in this film was fantastic, even though he only had a minute or two. I was shocked when I saw the leak that he was in this movie. I did not think Disney would make him a crime boss in this movie. And if you're confused why Maul was in this movie, he didn't die in episode 1. He survived, he did a bunch of shenanigans, he had a hard-on for Obi-Wan, killed his sorta not girlfriend, started the Shadow Collective, a criminal organization. He was everywhere. But he does die before A New Hope, so he does eventually die. The Kessel Mission was a lot of fun. The Kessel Run was a lot of fun. I just knew Disney had to explain the 12 parsecs thing, and they did it fabulously. I love the Legends nod to the mall. Just those entire scenes were fantastic. Also, like that L3 is now part of the Falcon, and you know that's the personality that C-3PO in the original trilogy was like, I don't like you. Beckett's character was also great. I feel like I don't have a lot to say on him right now. I love that Han shot him first because, of course, Han shot first. But let's be honest, Chewbacca was the one that stole the movie. It should have been Chewbacca, a Star Wars story. There would have been less outrage, too, because, you know, Chewbacca doesn't really age. You just have a costume and you put an actor in it. Chewbacca's relationship with Han was amazing as well. Alden as Han, he was okay. I never wholly believed he was Han Solo, but he had the mannerisms of Harrison's Han Solo down enough that it didn't take me out of the film, but it also didn't wholly convince me, I guess. There were a lot of fun winks and nods to his character. I hate you, I know, him shooting first, him being told that he's really the good guy, the hug with Lando that matched The Empire Strikes Back, so they did a decent job with him. Overall, this movie was just okay, and it breaks my heart to say that about a Star Wars film. And the sad thing is, I went to the first showing of opening night, so I was with diehard Star Wars fans, and I could feel that they had similar thoughts. I have never been to an opening night showing of a Star Wars film that was that quiet and reserved. Maybe I just got a super quiet crowd. Maybe everyone was going fucking nuts and screaming in your theater. They absolutely were not in mine, and that actually hurt a little bit too. So those are my initial thoughts after seeing the film. I'm sure I'll have a lot more after it all sinks in, but since we're all unique individuals, I'm sure you have your own thoughts, and maybe for some people this is going to be their favorite Star Wars film. That's fine. You liking the film doesn't change how I feel. Me disliking the film doesn't change how you feel. So now it's your turn. Tell me how you feel about the Han Solo movie in the comment section down below. Alright, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and come back for more videos.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars videos.